The splash hit me like a freight train, cold and chaotic, dragging me under the surface where the world muffled into a blue haze. I came up gasping, chlorine burning my eyes, only to see Jake's grin wide wicked, the kind that had been my undoing since freshman year, framed against the string lights flickering like fireflies above the pool deck. "Gotcha, loser," he yelled, but his voice cracked just enough to betray the tremor, the one I'd been pretending not to notice all night, as the party noise faded and it was just us treading water in the deep end, hearts pounding louder than the bass from the speakers. I lunged for him, half laughing, half furious, my fingers grazing his slick shoulder before he twisted away. But in that split second our eyes met, really met, and the prank shattered into something raw, something that tasted like confession on the back of my throat. "Jake, what the hell?" I sputtered, but the words dissolved into bubbles as he pulled me closer, not letting go this time, his breath hot against my ear in the cool night air. "I couldn't watch you walk away again, Ethan. Not tonight." That was the night everything cracked open, like the fault lines under the California sun we'd both grown up chasing. It was supposed to be just another team party, our college swim squad blowing off steam after regionals, the kind of chaotic sprawl in Jake's backyard where kegs flowed freer than advice and the grill smoke hung heavy with the scent of charred burgers and unspoken regrets. I'd been nursing a beer by the fire pit, watching the stars prick through the smog above Pasadena, when the chant started. "Cannonball! Cannonball!" Our captain, Marco, had already stripped down to his trunks and hurled himself into the pool, sending a wave that soaked half the deck. Laughter erupted, the kind that binds you tighter than any metal around your neck. Jake was there, of course, the golden boy of the Bruin swim team. 6'2" of lean muscle and easy charm, with sun-bleached hair that curled at the ends when it got wet and eyes the color of the Pacific on a clear day. We'd been best friends since orientation, thrown together in the dorms like mismatched socks, but it stuck. He was the straight-A finance major who could quote Hemingway one minute and shotgun a beer the next. I was the psych major with a chip on my shoulder the size of my mom's disappointment back in Fresno. We balanced, or so I told myself. Late-night study sessions turned into all-nighters debating everything from Kant to the Lakers' latest choke. And somewhere in the blur, I fell. Hard. But I buried it deep because Jake was straight as the arrow he wasn't, or at least that's what the parade of sorority girls on his arm suggested. The party peaked around midnight, bodies slick with sweat and chlorine, the air thick with the tang of sunscreen and spilled IPA. I was 3 beers in, feeling that warm buzz that makes bad ideas sound brilliant, when Sarah, Jake's latest, a lithe blonde from the volleyball team, draped herself over him by the cooler. "Babe, you're killing me with that smile," she purred, her hand trailing down his chest. He laughed it off, but his eyes flicked to me across the yard, holding just a beat too long. I turned away, pretending to scroll my phone, but the knot in my gut twisted tighter. Why did it always feel like this? Like I was the punchline to a joke only he got? By 1 a.m. the crowd thinned. Marco passed out on a lounge chair, a few stragglers nursing hangovers in the making. I slipped toward the gate, ready to Uber home before the ache turned into something I couldn't laugh off. That's when Jake cornered me by the fence, his breath smelling faintly of whiskey and mint. "Where you going, E? Night's young." His hand on my arm was casual, but the grip lingered, warm against the chill creeping in from the foothills. "Early practice tomorrow," I lied, shrugging him off. "Coach'll have us doing suicides till we puke if we're late." He snorted, that low rumble that always made my chest hum. "Bullshit. You're bailing 'cause of her." He jerked his thumb towards Sarah, who was giggling with friends by the hot tub. "Come on, man. One more dive. For old times' sake." Old times. Like the summer after high school, when we'd road-tripped up the coast in his beat-up Jeep, windows down, blasting Springsteen till our throats were raw. Or the night before my first psych midterm, when he'd crashed on my floor and whispered stories about his dad's old surfboard until I passed out with his arm slung over me like it was nothing. I wanted to say yes to everything, but the words stuck. "Nah, I'm good." Before I could move, he scooped me up like I weighed nothing, fireman's carry over his shoulder. My protests drowned in laughter as he marched me back to the pool. "Jake, put me down, you idiot." The team hooted, phones out, capturing the chaos. Sarah's laugh rang sharp, but I barely heard it over the blood rushing in my ears. And then the splash. He launched me in, fully clothed, the water closing over me like a secret I couldn't escape. I surfaced sputtering, and there he was diving in after surfacing inches away with that grin. The prank. But as the ripples settled and the lights danced on the surface, his expression shifted, playful to something edged with desperation. He treaded closer, our legs brushing under the water, and that's when he said it. I couldn't watch you walk away again, Ethan. Not tonight. The world narrowed to the space between us, the party a distant hum. My heart hammered, louder than the water lapping at the tiles. What are you talking about? I whispered, even though I knew. God, I knew. He glanced away, jaw tight, water dripping from his lashes. Pretending. His voice was barely audible over the faint splash of someone jumping in the shallow end. Sarah's great, but she's not. She's not you. Time fractured. 1 second I was floating in disbelief. The next, his hand found mine under the water, fingers lacing tight, pulling me toward the shadowed corner where the deck lights didn't reach. We bobbed there, breath sinking, the chlorine sharp in our noses. Jake, I started, but he cut me off with a shake of his head. Don't. Just listen. He leaned in, forehead pressing to mine, the gesture so intimate it stole my air. I've been fighting this since that stupid road trip. Waking up next to you in Big Sur. Your hair all messed up, laughing about nothing. I told myself it was bromance team shit. But it's not. Sui. It's always been you. The confession hung there, fragile as the bubbles rising between us. I wanted to believe it, wanted to drown in it, but doubt clawed up my throat. What about Sarah? The girls? Your family. His dad was some oil exec in Orange County, the kind who quoted Reagan at dinner and eyed me like I was a phase Jake needed to outgrow. He winced, pulling back just enough to search my face. Their cover. Safety nets. But tonight, seeing you watch me with her, it gutted me. Like losing you before I even had you. His thumb brushed my knuckles, a spark that shot straight to my core. Tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me you feel it too. I did. Christ, I did. The words tumbled out in a rush. Every damn day. But Jake, this could wreck us. The team, everything. His laugh was soft, broken. Then let's wreck it together. We didn't kiss. Not then, not with eyes on us from the deck. But he pulled me into a hug, chest to chest. The water buoying us as if the world had paused just for this. Laughter bubbled up from somewhere deep, hysterical and free. Because of all the ways this night could have gone, this was the one I never dared dream. The next morning dawned brutal. Head pounding like I'd swum the English Channel, mouth tasting like regret and Red Bull. I rolled out of my dorm bed, the sheets tangled from a night of replaying every second in the pool. Jake's text lit up my phone at 7:02 a.m. Coffee? Need to see you. J no emojis, no bullshit. Just him. I stared at it, thumb hovering, the high from last night crashing into reality. Practice was at 8. Coach's whistle waiting to slice through the fog. But I typed back. Being seen. 7:30. The campus cafe was our spot, tucked in the shadow of the library with mismatched mugs and baristas who didn't care about your major as long as you tipped. He was there when I arrived, slouched in our corner booth, 2 black coffees steaming on the scarred oak table. His hair was still damp from a shower, Bruin's hoodie zipped to his chin like armor. Hey, he said, sliding a mug my way, his smile tentative like he was testing ice thickness. Hey. I dropped into the seat, the vinyl creaking under me. Up close in the harsh fluorescent light, the shadows under his eyes told the story, sleepless, same as me. Last night was real. He cut in, voice low, glancing at the empty tables around us. The cafe hummed with early birds. A girl in yoga pants typing furiously on her laptop. An old prof nursing an espresso. Safe enough. I meant every word, I sipped the coffee, bitter and grounding. Me too. But what now? We can't just announce it at morning swim. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, that earnest tilt to his head that always undid me. We don't. Not yet. But we start. Dinners that aren't bro hangs. Texts that aren't about sets and splits. His foot nudged mine under the table, deliberate, a secret Morse code. And tonight? My place. Parents are in DC for the week. Just us. The invitation landed like a flip turn. Disorienting, exhilarating. Yeah, I breathed. Just us. Practice that day was a blur of flip turns and hypoxic sets, Coach barking orders like a drill sergeant on caffeine. Ramirez, quit daydreaming. Harlan, push off that wall like you mean it. I powered through, arms slicing the water, but my mind was elsewhere. On Jake's lane next to mine, our strokes sinking without trying, a rhythm we'd built over years. Underwater, eyes open to the tile lines, I caught glimpses of him. Powerful kicks, the flex of his shoulders. It wasn't lust, not like that. It was reverence, for the body that carried the soul I just started to claim. Post-swim in the locker room steam, he bumped my shoulder at the sinks. Good work out there. Casual, but his eyes said more, a promise wrapped in terry cloth. You too, prankster. I shot back, toweling my hair, the heat flushing my skin beyond the humidity. He lingered as the others filed out, Marco slapping backs and cracking jokes about last night's carnage. When the door swung shut behind the last guy, Jake stepped closer, voice a murmur. Can't stop thinking about you, wet. A beat, then he clarified, grinning. From the pool, perv. I shoved him, laughing, but the spark ignited. We dressed in silence, the air charged, and walked out into the Pasadena sun together. Hands brushing, not holding, but close enough to feel the pull. That night his house felt different. Empty, echoing, the Spanish-style ranch with terracotta tiles and a pool that glowed like a sapphire under the moon. We'd crashed here before, post-meet barbecues turning into Mario Kart marathons, but tonight the air hummed with intent. He ordered pizza from that hole-in-the-wall on Colorado Boulevard. Pepperoni and extra cheese our staple, and we ate on the living room floor, backs against the couch, legs stretched toward the TV playing some dumb action flick neither of us watched. Halfway through a slice, sauce smudging his chin, he set it down. Ethan. My name in his mouth like that, soft, deliberate, made my pulse stutter. I need to tell you something. The pizza turned to ash in my throat. Yeah. He wiped his hands on his jeans, buying time. Sarah. I broke it off this afternoon. Told her it wasn't working. His gaze dropped to the carpet, frayed from years of sneakers. She cried. Asked if it was someone else. I said no. A pause heavy. But it is. Relief warred with guilt, a cocktail I swallowed hard. You didn't have to. I did. He looked up, eyes fierce. For this. For us. We migrated to the pool later, the water calling like an old friend. Stripped to trunks we slipped in. No pranks this time, just the quiet glide of strokes side by side. Lap after lap, the tension uncoiled, until we floated on our backs, staring at the stars wheeling overhead. His pinky hooked mine, a tether in the dark. I grew up thinking love was simple, he said after a while, voice drifting up like steam. Dad and Mom, church on Sundays, the whole picket fence. Then you show up, all sarcasm and psychbabble, and suddenly it's complicated. Beautiful but complicated. I turned my head, water lapping at my ears. Complicated's my middle name. He chuckled, the sound rippling the surface. Mine's Alexander, actually. But yeah. We talked till the water pruned our skin. About his little sister in middle school. How she idolized him, but he'd never told her about the nights he cried in his room, questioning why church pamphlets made him feel like a sinner for glancing at the quarterback. About my mom, the Fresno fields where she'd worked double shifts after Dad bailed. Her voice on the phone always laced with, "When are you bringing home a nice girl?" I confessed the isolation of it all, the hookups and shadows that left me emptier. The way meeting Jake felt like finally breathing. As the night deepened, we climbed out, towels draped loose, and sat on the edge, feet dangling. The air cooled, goosebumps rising, but his shoulder against mine was fire. Ethan, he murmured, turning to me. Our faces inches apart, breaths mingling. Can I? Yes. The word was a key, and when his lips met mine, soft, tentative, tasting of chlorine and salt, it unlocked everything. The kiss deepened slow like a dive into uncharted depths, hands finding waists, pulling closer. No rush, no frenzy. Just the quiet unraveling of years held back. We broke apart breathless, foreheads touching. Worth the wait, he whispered. I smiled into the dark. Every stroke. But dawn brings light, and light reveals cracks. The next week blurred into a secret rhythm. Stolen glances in the weight room. Texts that lit up my nights like bioluminescent waves. We carved out moments. A hike in the San Gabriels, where we held hands on the trail, the chaparral scratching our calves. A drive to Santa Monica, windows down, his fingers laced in mine over the console as the ocean roared approval. The team noticed the shift, subtle as a rogue wave. Marco clapped Jake on the back one afternoon in the natatorium. "You two glued at the hip lately, huh?" "Spiel." Jake played it off with a laugh. Just plotting world domination. But his eyes met mine across the lanes, a shared pulse. Then came the betrayal, sharp as a cramp mid-race. It was Thursday, post-practice huddle. Coach droning about nationals qualifiers. My phone buzzed in my bag. "Mom. Call me. Important." Heart sinking, I ducked into the hall, dialing as I paced the tile. "Ethan? Honey, your aunt forwarded this. From a friend of the family." Her voice trembled, the kind reserved for funerals. "Pictures. Of you and a boy. At some party." The world tilted. The pool party. Someone's phone flash, a candid shot of us in the water. Arms around each other, grins wide. Innocent but in the wrong eyes. Damning. "Mom, it's not." "Don't." Steel etched her tone. "Your cousin's wedding is in 2 weeks, Fresno. The whole family. If this gets out." She trailed off, the unspoken weight crushing. The whispers, the judgment, the doors slamming on the life she'd scraped together for me. I hung up numb, sliding down the wall. Jake found me there minutes later, concern etching his face. "Eh? What's wrong?" I handed him the phone, the screenshot she'd sent. A blurry capture, but us unmistakable. His face paled. "Shit. Who?" "Doesn't matter." My voice cracked. "My family's conservative as hell, Jake. This could. Everything." He knelt, hands on my knees. "We'll handle it. Talk to her. Tell her it's real." "Real?" Laughter barked out, bitter. "You think that's enough? Your dad's the same, Reagan quotes and Bible verses. What if he sees this?" He flinched but held firm. "Then he sees. We face it." But doubt seeded, festering like lane rope burn. The wedding loomed, a guillotine. I drove home that weekend alone, Jake's text a lifeline. "Miss you. Call anytime." Fresno baked under the valley sun. Almond orchard stretching endless, the air thick with dust and diesel. Mom hugged me tight at the door, her eyes searching, but she said nothing yet. The house smelled of her tamales. Comfort twisted into obligation. Aunt Rosa's wedding was a spectacle. White tents on the vineyard edge, mariachi blaring, relatives in starched guayaberas. I played the part, smiling nephew dancing with cousins, dodging questions about that UCLA girl. But under the fairy lights, Jake's absence ached like a phantom limb. Saturday night, reception in full swing, my phone vibrated in my pocket. Not Jake, a unknown number. Screenshot. The same pool photo forwarded in a family group chat. Caption. Ethan's little secret? Prayers needed. Sender. Uncle Miguel, the deacon with a beer gut and a Bible app. Panic surged. I bolted to the parking lot, dialing Jake as gravel crunched under my boots. "It's out. Everyone knows." His voice was steady but strained. "Breed, eh? I'm coming. Road trip, be there in 5 hours." "No." The word escaped before I could cage it. "This is my mess. Your life's perfect. Don't drag it down." Silence stretched, taut as a starting block. "Ethan, that's bullshit. We're in this." "Are we?" The accusation spilled, fueled by fear. "Or is this just your rebellion phase? When Dad finds out, when the team talks?" "Stop." Hurt laced his tone raw. "You think I'd walk? After everything?" I hung up, tears hot on my cheeks, the vineyard lights blurring. Betrayal wasn't his. It was mine, pushing away the one thing real. He showed anyway. Jeep rumbling into the lot at 3 a.m. Headlights cutting the dark. I was on the porch swing, Mom's rosary beads in my lap, hers borrowed for strength. He killed the engine, stepped out in sweats and a hoodie, hair wild from the drive. Couldn't stay away. I stood, words failing, and he crossed the distance in 3 strides, pulling me into his chest. "I'm sorry," I mumbled into his collar, the scent of him, cedar and sea salt home. "For what?" "Being scared." He cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears. "Me too. But we don't run." Mom found us there at dawn, coffee in hand, her face a map of shock and sorrow. "Ethan." Not anger, question. I pulled back, Jake's hand in mine visible. "Mom. This is Jake. My boyfriend." The word hung bold as a freestyle sprint. She set the mug down, eyes flicking between us, the photos ghost in her mind. Minutes passed eternal before she sighed deep as orchard wind. Coffee's cold. Come inside. We talk. It wasn't absolution, not yet. Questions flew. How long? What about church? The family? Jake answered steady, his finance major logic laced with heart. Love's not a ledger, ma'am. It's just us. Mom listened, fingers twisting her apron. The woman who'd raised me on stories of resilience, of fields worked till hands bled. By noon, Uncle Miguel called apology gruff. Family sticks, mijo. Prayers for strength, not shame. The chat buzzed with cautious support. A few silences louder than words. We drove back to Pasadena that afternoon. Mom's tamales packed in the cooler, her parting hug fierce. Be happy, Ethan. That's the only commandment that matters. The climax hit Nationals week. Vegas heat mirroring the pressure. Pool deck electric, crowds roaring. The air thick with Benghazi and ambition. Jake and I qualified tandem, 200 free relay, our strokes a symphony. But whispers followed. A teammate's side-eye in the village, coach pulling Jake aside post-prelims. Heard rumors, Harlan. Keep it pro. Jake's jaw set like concrete. It's pro. Always is. Finals night, the relay anchor lagged me. Lane 4, the PA blaring our names. I glanced at Jake on the block, his nod a vow. Dive sharp, water embracing like his arms. Pull after pull, the wall approaching, crowd a blur. Touch out first, half-second edge. Metals heavy around our necks, but the real weight lifted when he kissed me, quick, defiant. In the shadowed tunnel, cameras be damned. Back in Ella, life settled into grace. No fanfare, just us. Study dates in the stacks, pool pranks that ended in kisses, road trips with Springsteen cranked. Mom visited once. Awkward but thawing, Jake charming her with bad Spanish over enchiladas. His dad. A work in progress. Dinners stiff, questions probing, but a grudging proud of you, son, after Jake's internship landed. Betrayal's scar faded, replaced by the humanism of it all. Love not as conquest but quiet revolution. We graduated side by side, caps tossed into the Coliseum sky. Then grad school for me, Wall Street for him. Apartments merged in Echo Park, the pool in our backyard a constant reminder. Years on, that prank's echo lingers, the splash that started it, the laugh that sealed it. Jake proposes on a Big Sur cliff, ring simple as our start, ocean crashing approval. I say yes, tears mixing with salt spray. And in the quiet nights, his head on my chest, I think. Sometimes the best stories begin with a dunk, end with a dive into forever. The Vegas afterglow faded fast under the relentless Pasadena sun, but the high from that relay win clung like metal tape. Stubborn, a little itchy. Jake and I crashed back into routine, but it felt new, laced with the thrill of stolen moments no longer hidden. We'd linger in the natatorium after hours, lane lines glowing under the low lights, trading lazy laps that devolved into synchronized floats. His laughter echoing off the tiles when I'd splash him just to hear it. You're incorrigible, he'd say, pulling me close, water sluicing between us like whispered secrets. But cracks spiderwebbed beneath the surface, subtle as a drag in your stroke. It started with the team's inner circle, Marco, ever the loudmouth, cornering us at the campus gym one Tuesday, free weights clanking like accusations. So, you two official now. 'Cause the locker room's buzzing like a beehive on bath salts. His grin was all teeth, but his eyes probed, testing. Jake wiped sweat from his brow, spotting me on bench presses, his stance protective. Yeah, man. Official. The word dropped like an anchor, steadying us. Marco whistled low, racking his dumbbells. Ballsy. Coach's old school, might not love it. But hey, relay gods get a pass. He punched Jake's arm light, but the warning lingered, a riptide pull. I pushed through my set, barbell biting palms, mind churning. Coach Reyes, silver fox with a whistle like a whip, who'd molded us from flailing freshmen to national contenders. He'd pulled me aside once, post a lackluster 400 I'm. Harlan Swimming's 90% head game. Get yours straight. Irony stung, bitter as lane 6 dead spot. By Thursday practice the vibe shifted. Whispers cut short when we entered, eyes darting like minnows. We powered through butterfly drills, Jake's form flawless beside me, but during cool down, coach called us over, clipboard in hand like a shield. Harlan Ramirez, walk with me. The deck stretched endless under our bare feet, humidity clinging. Heard the chatter, he said, voice gruff but not unkind, eyes on the water's ripple. Personal lives bleed into the pool sometimes. Just keep it clean. Focus on the win, not the who. Jake nodded, jaw tight. Understood, coach. I swallowed hard, tasting chlorine regret. Won't be a problem. It wasn't, not overtly. But the betrayal brewed quieter, in the sidelong glances from underclassmen, the way invitations to team barbecues came with asterisks. Jake brushed it off over late-night tacos at the truck on Hill Avenue. Neon buzzing overhead. They're adjusting me. Give it time. Time. The word mocked as weeks blurred toward summer break. My internship at a Pasadena psych clinic started. Shadowing therapists with clipboards full of case files. Unraveling minds knotted tighter than my freestyle knot. Jake landed his finance gig downtown, suits sharp as his wit, commuting via the 110 in rush hour hell. Evenings we'd collapse together in my shoebox apartment off campus. His Jeep parked crooked outside, trading war stories over microwave burritos, feet tangled on the futon. One night, mid-June, heat wave pressing like a fever. He came home late, tie askew, eyes shadowed. Rough day? I asked, pausing our Netflix queue, the screen's glow painting his face blue. He sank beside me, head on my shoulder. Dad called. Knows about us. The confession landed soft, but it detonated. My gut twisted. How? Teen mom gossip chain, apparently. One of the boosters' wives saw the Vegas pics online. Some fan account posted relay hugs. He laughed hollow. He didn't yell. Just asked questions. Like I'm a merger he needs to vet. I threaded fingers through his hair, the strands damp from stress sweat. What did you say? Truth. That you're the best thing in my life. He lifted his head, eyes searching mine. He went quiet. Said he'd pray on it. Prayer. The word echoed my mom's rosary nights, the fragile bridge we'd built. And you? He shrugged, vulnerability cracking his armor. Hate this part. The explaining. Like love's a debate club. We made love then. Not the word for it exactly. It was communion, slow and sacred, bodies mapping forgiveness in the dim lamplight. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of us, he whispered. Whatever comes, we swim through it. Summer deepened, relentless as valley heat. We escaped to the coast most weekends. Malibu mornings with coffee from shacks that hadn't changed since Reagan. Then hikes where eucalyptus shaded the trail, our hands free to link without campus eyes. One Sunday, atop a bluff overlooking the breakers, Jake spread a blanket from his Jeep. Picnic of In-N-Out scavenged on the drive. To us, he toasted with a root beer, clinking my can. To not drowning, I countered, grinning. He leaned back on elbows, wind tousling his hair. Remember that prank? Best decision I ever made. Liar. Launching your best friend fully clothed? Rookie move. His laugh boomed free. Had to get your attention. You were slipping away. The memory warmed, but under it the current tugged. Back in Pasadena, reality resurfaced. A text from Marco. Team meeting. Urgent. Your place. Jake's nod was grim, we knew. They arrived en masse. 8 of us, the core squad, sprawling across my living room like washed-up kelp. Beers cracked from the fridge without asking. Marco paced, energy coiled. Look, we love you guys. Relay was epic. But coach pulled me in today. Says boosters are rumbling, distraction, they call it. Want separate lanes or some bullshit. Jake stiffened beside me on the couch, his thigh pressed to mine. Separate? We're the fastest pair he's got. A freshman, Tyler, lanky kid with a buzz cut, shifted uncomfortably. It's not us. It's them. Money talks, you know. Betrayal slithered in then, not from fists but from averted eyes, the way Marco's foot tapped avoidance. So what's the play? I asked, voice steady by will alone. Play. Marco echoed, stepping. Keep your heads down. No more. Displays. Win nationals and it'll blow over. Jake surged up, chair scraping. Displays? We're not your token story. Love or leave it. The room froze, air thick. Tyler mumbled, dude chill. But Marco held up hands. Not saying that. Just survive. They filed out eventually, hugs awkward, promises of talk soon ringing hollow. Door clicked shut and Jake paced, fury radiating. Survive? Like we're diseased. I pulled him down, arms around his waist. They're scared too. Of losing what we built. He buried face in my neck, breath ragged. What if we lose it anyway? We didn't, not then. Nationals loomed again, training ramped to mania. Dawn sessions where the pool steamed, lungs burning on intervals, coaches whistle a metronome of mercy. Jake and I sink tighter, our relay a machine. Handoff seamless, turns telepathic. Whispers faded under the roar of our times. Boosters grumbled but results silenced. But the real storm brewed at home. Jake's dad flew in unannounced one August evening. Robert Harlan, broad-shouldered in khakis and a polo that screamed country club, landing like a hawk on the thermal. We were grilling in the apartment's sad patio. Steak sizzling, me in an apron that said, "Kiss the cook," ironically, when the buzzer sounded. Jake's face drained. Shit. It's him. Robert strode in like he owned the lease, cologne clouding the air, eyes appraising the space. My psych texts stacked haphazardly, Jake's finance journals neat beside them. So. Hug brief then to me. Ethan. Heard a lot. Handshake firm assessing. Dinner was a minefield. Small talk about markets, my internship, the Dodgers slump. Then over charred asparagus he pivoted. This. Arrangement. It's new. Uncharted. Jake's fork clattered. Dad. Hear me out. Robert's voice was measured, boardroom calm. Love's fine. But life's a balance sheet. Reputations, opportunities. You want Wall Street? They don't hand keys to. Complications. The word landed like a false start buzzer. I gripped my napkin, knuckles white. Complications? That's us. He met my gaze, not unkind but unyielding. Réalistique, son. World turned slow. Jake shoved back, chair tipping. Then I'll turn it myself. Without your firm, without the connections. Ethan's my future. Deal with it. Robert stood, tie straight. Think it over. Pride's expensive. Door shut behind him, echo final. Jake collapsed against the counter, shaking. He'll come around. He has to. But doubt festered, a slow poison. Days later, internship review. My supervisor, Dr. Lena, sharp-eyed with a bob that defied gravity, leaned over her desk. Ethan, feedback. Clients love your empathy, but discretion. Colleagues saw you with Jake. In this field, perceptions matter. Perceptions. The word chained to Robert's, a noose tightening. I drove to the pool that night, needing the water's absolution. Jake waited, goggles pushed up, concern etching. Bad day. Worse. E-stripped, Dovin, cold shock cleansing. He joined, our strokes paralleling until we paused at the wall, gasping. Talk, he urged, hand on my shoulder. I spilled it all. Lena, the team, the invisible walls closing. Are we fooling ourselves? Pushing against a tide. His eyes flashed, water beating on lashes. No. We're the tide, changing it. We raced then, full sprint, 50 free, walls blurring. I touched first by a fingertip, and his whoop echoed as he hauled me out. See? We win. Laughter bubbled, fragile but real. That night, we drove to the observatory. Griffith's dome gleaming under stars we claimed as ours. Blanket on the grass, his head in my lap, we mapped constellations, fingers tracing skies. Cassiopeia, he murmured. The queen. Unashamed. Like us, I whispered, bending to kiss him. The city lights, a distant applause. Fall semester hit like a medley. Classes stacking, practices brutal. The apartment a war zone of textbooks and Gatorade bottles. Jake thrived in finance, acing case studies on ethical investing with the irony I loved. Me? Psych deep in the introspection, seminars on identity clashing with my reality. The betrayal crested mid-October. Homecoming weekend. Team party at Marco's off-campus house. Sprawling craftsman with a keg in the kitchen, fairy lights strung like excuses. We'd go, Jake insisted. Show them we're unbreakable. Crowd thick. Bass thumping from speakers, the air ripe with cheap cologne and possibility. We stuck close, beers in hand, laughs shared, but eyes tracked us, a perimeter of judgment. Sarah was there, Jake's ex, draped on a lacrosse player's arm, her smile sharp as she toasted us. To the dynamic duo. May your secrets stay buried. The jab landed, but Jake waved it off, pulling me to dance. Awkward shuffles in the living room. Bodies swaying to some EDM remix. For a moment it was us against the world, his breath on my neck a shield. Then disaster. Tyler buzzed and bowled, corners Jake by the porch, voice slurred. Dude, coach said if you two keep, you know, he's benching you for relays. Boosters want clean image. Jake's face hardened. He said that. Tyler nods, regret flickering. Overheard. Thought you should know. Betrayal pure from coach, the mentor. From the team, our brothers. I found Jake outside, fists clenched on the railing, night air cool against the heat of rage. It's over, he growled. I'm done. Done. Panic surged. With swimming. With hiding. With this crap. He turned, eyes blazing. We confront him. Tomorrow. Dawn practice was execution. We marched into coach's office post-warm-up. Door shut like a confessional. He looked up from his desk, whistle dangling. Boys. Seat. Jake didn't. We know. The bench threat. The image bullshit. Coach sighed, rubbing temples. Not bullshit. Reality. Boosters fund this program, scholarships, trips. They see headlines. Gay swimmers distract team. Spencer's bolt. I leaned forward, voice steel. And if we win, does love disqualify talent? He met my gaze, softening fraction. Never said that. But life's not just the pool. Families depend, mine included. Kids' college. The human cost laid bare. Jake deflated, shoulders slumping. So what? We quit. Coach stood, hand on Jake's shoulder, paternal, pained. No. You fight smarter. Keep winning. Prove them wrong. And off deck? Discreet. For now. It stung, compromise bitter as defeat. We nodded, exiting to lanes that felt narrower. But in the water we poured it out, sets furious time shaving seconds. Afternoon we hiked Eaton Canyon, waterfall mist cooling burns. It's not fair, Jake vented, skipping stones across the pool. Life's not a fair race, I said, arm around him. But we finish. He turned, kissing me fierce under the cascade, water sheeting down. Together. Winter break split us, me to Fresno for tamales and tentative family dinners, where mom's questions evolved from him to tell me about Jake. His stories of pranks and pools drew her laughs, walls crumbling like overbaked cornbread. Jake to Orange County, Robert's mansion a pressure cooker. Texts came sparse. Dinner tense. Dad quoting Leviticus. Praying my way. Then breakthrough. He asked about you. Said sounds like a good kid. Progress. New year dawned with resolutions unspoken. Endure. Spring training ramped. Meets stacking like dominoes. We medaled regionals, the crowds roared, drowning doubters. But climax brewed in April. Pac-12 championships. Seattle's chill a shock after Cali warmth. Qualifying heats hummed, but pre-relay huddle. Coach pulled Jake aside, whispers urgent. I paced deck, nerves electric, until he returned, face ashen. What? Booster cornered him. Ultimatum. I swim solo, or they pull funding for the underclassmen. Betrayal's apex, from the shadows money's blade. Jake's eyes met mine, decision etched. I'm out. For them. Heart fractured. No. We fight. Together means sacrifice, He squeezed my hand, hidden. Anchor legs yours. Win it for us. The race blurred, dive, pull, breathe, turn. Lanes merged, competitors ghosts. Touchpad beeped, gold by a wave. Medals cold around neck, but Jake's hug in the stands, fierce final warmed. He transferred events post-champs. Solo freeze where his time shone solitary. Team grumbled but results quieted. Boosters backed off, funding intact. We adapted. Rhythm shifting but unbroken. Graduation June heat, families in stands. Mom beaming beside Robert, who clapped polite when Jake crossed stage. Diplomas in hand we drove Pacific Coast Highway, top down, wind our witness. To new lanes. Jake toasted at a cliffside pullout, ring box glinting. I slipped it on, silver band etched with waves. To pranks that last. Summer job in Seattle for me. Clinic start meant distance but weekends bridged, flights cheap, love cheaper. Jake's Wall Street path forked to LA firm. Suits traded for board shorts on beach runs. Letters, actual, penned, filled gaps. His scrawl on linen stock, my loops on clinic notepads, words weaving tighter. Fall rains lashed Puget Sound, but Jake's visits were sunbreaks. Hikes in Olympics, coffee in Pike Place. Nights where we mapped futures. House in Silver Lake, maybe kids someday, surrogates or adoption, a family-defying scripts. Betrayal's echo? A scar teaching resilience. One night, storm raging, he proposed proper. Me in sand on Alki Beach, waves crashing chorus. Ethan Ramirez, swim the rest with me? Yes, I choked, pulling him up, kiss salt-laced. Years unfurl. Therapy practice mine, portfolio his. Mom visits LA, Robert thaws over Dodgers games. Team reunions, Marco toasts the Rebels. Hugs genuine. The prank? Retold at our wedding, small beachside, string lights like that party. Laughter rippling as Jake recounts the splash. Best dive ever. And in quiet, his hand in mine, I know. Love's not straight lines, but the current carrying us home. Seattle's gray veil lifted sporadically that first autumn, but Jake's presence chased shadows like a break in the clouds. Unpredictable but always warming. Our long-distance dance began with logistics. Southwest fares booked months out, care packages of his mom's salsa for my fridge, my playlists curated for his commutes. Miss your voice, he'd text at 2 a.m. his time, and I'd call, whispering through static about clinic kids unraveling traumas while he dissected market dips over speakerphone. The apartment I rented, third floor walk-up in Capitol Hill, with creaky oak floors and a bay window framing evergreens, became our outpost. His visits filled it. Duffel dumped by the door, takeout containers from the Vietnamese spot on Broadway piling up, the bed sagging under reunions that stitched weeks apart. This city's got nothing on you, he'd murmur one October night, rain pattering the pane as we lay tangled, his fingers tracing the freckles across my shoulders like a constellation only he mapped. But distance amplified doubts, echoes of old betrayals whispering in quiet hours. A clinic colleague, Raj Easy Laugh, shared love of indie bands, invited me to trivia nights at a dive bar, platonic but pointed. You talk about this Jake like he's the sun. When's he eclipsing Seattle? I'd deflect with beer-fueled banter, but the seed took. Was I tethering my life to a coast away? Jake sensed it during a November fly-in, the Space Needle lit festive against early dark. We wandered Pike Place, tossing fish with tourists for laughs, then huddled in a cafe, steam rising from chowder bowls. You're quiet, he noted, spoon midway, eyes that Pacific blue pinning me. I stirred my soup, broth swirling. Just roots. Clinic's good, but mom's calls, Fresno pulls. And you, LA's siren. He set his spoon down, hand covering mine across the scarred table. Roots entwine, eh? Not cut. We'll find soil for both. His thumb circled my knuckle, grounding. Besides my firm's scouting remote gigs. Seattle's on the list. Hope flickered. Fragile as the market's rebound, he predicted next. We hiked Discovery Park that weekend. Salal berries staining fingers, trail mud sucking at boots, talking transplants. A house with a yard for dogs, maybe, or kids' laughter echoing off kitchen tiles. Adopt from the system, he mused, pausing at a bluff overlook, sound churning below. Give back what we got. Unconditional. The vision rooted deep, but reality's thorns pricked. December brought his firm's holiday party, virtual for me. A glitchy Zoom square amid suits and champagne flutes. Robert appeared on screen, arm around Jake's mom Linda, toast crisp. To Jake, our anchor. Pride swelled, but when a VP leaned in, murmuring audible, heard you're flying solo up north, smart, keeps options open. The screen froze on Jake's tight smile, betrayal's ghost in pixels. I confronted it post-call, pacing my kitchenette as he drove home. What was that? Options. His voice crackled through Bluetooth. Nothing. Schmooze talk. You know how it is. Doi. Heat rose, old insecurities surfacing. Or is distance the polite out? Like coaches discreet? Silence hummed longer than static. Ethan, that's not. Feels like it. I hung up, regret instant curling like smoke. Apology texts flooded. Didn't mean it. Scared. Love you. But the callback waited till morning, his voice rough from lack of sleep. Fly down. Christmas. Please. Fresno first. Mom's house aglow with luminarias, tamale steam fogging windows. She hugged tighter these visits, questions evolving. Jake's mom, does she cook? Laughter bridged gaps, her acceptance a quiet miracle. Tell him we're family, she said, pressing leftovers into my bag. Ella next, Harlan Mance decked in wreaths, The pool strung with lights like that fateful party. Linda enveloped me warm floral scented, while Robert clapped my back. Heard about Seattle. Tough break. No probe, just beer offered from the outdoor fridge. Progress etched in foam. Jake met me at the gate, airport rush parting for his grin. Missed you, idiot. The drive unwound tension. Freeway light streaking, his hand on my thigh a constant. Christmas Eve family dinner. Turkey carved precise, stories swapped. Robert raised glass. To paths crossed. Eyes met mine over the rim. Acknowledgement, not absolution. Later by the pool, stars pricking smog, he pulled Jake aside, whispers low. I pretended not to watch, heart hammering. What passed? Jake confided after, midnight unwrapping in his boyhood room. Posters faded, shelves of trophies gathering dust. He apologized. Said he was wrong about complications. Sees us now. Tears pricked, relief flooding. Human of him. We made love slow, reverent, the house creaking around us like blessing. New Year flipped the script. Jake's firm greenlit hybrid. 3 days LA, 2 remote from Seattle. By February, boxes shipped. His suits hung in my closet, finance tomes stacked beside DSM-5s. The apartment bloomed, kitchen island for shared meals, balcony herbs thriving under his thumb. But climax shadowed spring. A storm front rolling in unannounced. Clinic expanded, new director. Ambitious with metrics, pairing me on cases with Raj for synergy. Trivia nights bled into coffees, his easy empathy mirroring mine but boundaries blurred. A hand on my arm lingering, a we make a good team lace double. Guilt nod, confided to Jake over Thai takeout. Rain sheeting the window. He's just there. And I feel shitty even noticing. Jake paused, forked midway. Notice? Or tempted? Voice even but eyes storm-tossed. Not like, words tangled. You're it. Always. He nodded slow. Trusts the deep end, jump or drown. I jumped. Cleared my calendar, focused laser on work, but the seed of doubt? It flowered in Jake's silences, his late calls from networking drinks, laughter tinny through phone. May brought the reckoning. Team alumni weekend, Pasadena pulling us south. Marco hosted again, house evolved. Wife, toddler chaos, but the pool unchanged, a time capsule. Squad reassembled. Stories slurred, medals dusted off. Jake and I arrived hand in hand, no hesitation and hugs enveloped. Tyler with a beer. Missed you beasts. Midnight, pool deck slick with spills, Marco pulled us aside. Smoke break under string lights. Coach retired. New guys progressive. Rainbow flags in the office. Laughter light, but then. Heard rumors though. About you two. Firm pressure. Jake stiffened. Rumors. Marcos Chirac. Wall Street whispers. Some exec saw you at a gala. Distraction again. Your dad's circle. Betrayal reloaded from the past, tentacles long. Jake's face shuddered. Robert wouldn't. But Dawn confirmed. Call from Linda, voice quaver. Your father. He mentioned concerns to a partner. Thought he was helping. Protecting opportunities. The drive home back to Seattle crackled fury. Helping. By sabotaging. Jake's knuckles white on wheel. I squeezed his thigh. Confront him. End it. He did, FaceTime from a rest stop, screen-splitting desert and rage. Robert's denial crumbled under fire. I suggested discretion, son. Not derailment. Lies cost trust, Dad. Jake's voice broke. Fix it. Robert nodded, chastened. I will. Apologize to Ethan too. The call ended, air cleared but bruised. We arrived home spent, collapsing into bed. His head on my chest. Sorry for doubting, I whispered. Me too. For the distance it bred. Summer healed. Road trip redux, Jeep loaded north to Vancouver. Border cross with playlists and no agenda. Campsites by lakes, fires crackling, confessions. His fear of failure, my imposter syndrome in therapy robes. We're enough, he said one night, stars blanket overhead. Flawed but full. Fall anchored us. Wedding plans tentative. Invites sketched on napkins. Mom met Linda over Zoom. Accents mingling like recipes swapped. Robert. Sent a check. For the venue. No strings. Strings cut finally. But the true peak? Clinic crisis. A client teen grappling identity, attempted harm. I sat vigil in our Jake flying in midnight, holding me as sobs racked. You saved them, he murmured. Like you saved me. Humanism bloomed there, in vulnerability's soil. We adopted Milo, a mutt from the shelter, scruffy loyal. His wags a daily reminder. Love rescuer, not rescued. Years layered. My practice thrived, books penned on resilience. Jake climbed, ethical funds his crusade. Kids came too via agency. Sophia, fierce toddler. Liam, thoughtful echo of us. House in Madrona, pool in the yard. Pranks revived, splashes echoing our start. The betrayal? A chapter closed, its lesson etched. Love's not absence of storm but sailing through. On anniversaries we retell the dunk, laughter renewing vows. Jake's grin unchanged. Best prank ever. And in his arms, world steady, I know. We're the current carving canyons of forever. Madrona's streets wound like veins through evergreens. Our home a craftsman nestled at the cul-de-sac's end. Porch swing creaking under Sophia's wild swings. Liam's blocks scattered like accusations on the lawn. The pool we'd installed 2 summers back shimmered backyard jewel. Its water's a baptism for family lore. Milo's cannonballs gone wrong, holiday floats bobbing lazy. Jake dove in first that inaugural day, surfacing with a whoop, pulling me under an echo of origins. Full circle, he grinned, water sheeting his lashes. Parenting reshaped us. Sleepless to symphony, chaos to choreography. Mornings. Jake's coffee brewing strong while I wrangled breakfast negotiations. Sophia's, no bananas. A daily duel. Evenings. Stories spun from thin air. Liam's wide eyes demanding the prank again. Our mythologized meet-cute, sanitized for tiny ears. Daddy Jake splashed Daddy Ethan, and they laughed forever. But beneath domestic hum, undercurrents stirred. Jake's firm expanded. Satellite office in Portland. Overnights creeping like ivy. Just meetings. He'd text from sterile hotels, voice fatigue laced on calls. I'd pace the kitchen, Milo at heels, doubts whispering. Is distance destiny's redo? It peaked one crisp October. Leaves carpeting the deck like warnings. Sophia's preschool play, turkey feathers and pilgrim hats, coincided with Jake's quarterly in New York. Can't miss it. He apologized at dawn, tie knotting crooked. Kiss hasty on my temple. Video call from the road. The auditorium buzzed pint-sized patriots, my phone propped on a folding chair. His face pixelated amid skyscrapers. Sophia beamed on stage, gobbling invisible corn, but his lag stuttered. So proud, Bean. Disconnect mid-applause, signal lost. Drive home, tears pricked, irrational but raw. Liam from the back. Daddy Jake coming? I forced cheer. Soon, bud. He arrived late, airport bouquet wilting, exhaustion etching. Killed the pitch. Promotion track. Hug tight but my body stiff. Cupboard love. I teased but edge cut. He pulled back, brow furrow. What's wrong? Nothing. Lie tasted ash. Just. Slipping. His eyes searched, hand cupping my jaw. Never. Works the wave, we ride it. But waves crest. November brought Robert's health scare. Prostate whisper, surgery scheduled. Jake flew south, days blurring into worry calls. Stable but scared. I held fort, kids' routines anchor. But nights alone amplified voids. Bed vast, echoes of laughter absent. He returned changed, quieter, priorities prismed. Dad's mortal. He confessed over Thanksgiving turkey. Robert zooming in from recovery, Frylier frame belying gruff. Tell Ethan thanks for holding the line. Linda's eyes misty. Families weave, not warp. The scare refracted light on our strains. December we escaped, babysitter bounty weekend in Napa, vine stripped bare but promising. Tasting room fire crackled, cabs deep as confessions. I've been absent, Jake admitted, glass swirling. Chasing ladders, missing the view. I leaned into him, wool of his sweater rough. We both. Clinics exploding. New hires but I'm spread thin. Pact forged over Pinot, boundaries redrawn. His firm. No overnight sans family vote.
Mine. Delegate. Date nichts mandatori.
To us anchors. He toasted, clink ceiling. Winter thawed into spring. Resolutions rooting. Sophia's swim lessons. Tiny splashes in the Y pool. Jake's arms buoying her giggles reclaimed joy. Liam's questions deepened. Why 2 daddies? Answered simple. Love's shape varies. Ours fits. But betrayal's shadow lengthened unexpected. Clinic audit, Raj elevated to partner, his invite to celebrate laced intent. Dinner? Your insights changed the game. Colleague, yes, but memories flirt lingered guilt's hook. I declined but confessed to Jake over backyard grill, burgers charring. Old ghost. Nothing happened but he flipped a patty, smoke curling. Temptation's human. Trust's choice. Pause, eyes meeting over tongs. I had one too, in turn at the firm, eyes like yours. Shut it down. Because you're home. Vulnerability bridge, deeper than before. We talked hours, fears of fading spark, parenting's eclipse. Renew, he said, pulling me to the pool's edge, feet dangling. Prank me. I shoved him in, fully suited, echo perfect. He surfaced sputtering, laughter booming. You bastard. Hauling me down, splash war ensued, suit sodden, joy juvenile. Summer bloomed, riots of color. Family trip to Yosemite, granite monoliths dwarfing us. Tent nights, kids zipped in bags, Jake and I slipped out to stargaze, blankets under sequoias. Remember Big Sir? He whispered, hand in mine. First crack. Kiss soft, fireflies winking approval. Climax crested Labor Day. Reunion in Pasadena. Full squad. Marco's sprawling now with a plays cape. Pool party redux. Grills smoking, beers chilling, alumni swapping scars. Coach's successor toasted us. Pioneers. But undercurrents swirled. Tyler, now coach himself, pulled Jake aside, whispers grave. Later, deck quieting, Jake found me by the fence, face storm clouded. Offer. Head coach at UCLA. Full ride for the program. Elation ward caution. Seattle. Transferable. Firm's flexible. His eyes pleaded. But it's home. You kids uproot. Heart-wrenched, LA's pull magnetic, our roots tangled there. Nights debated. Pros, family proximity, son. Cons, clinic rebuild, kids' schools. Sophia's swim with grandpa? Tip scales. Robert's recovery craved grands closer. Decision dawn, yes. Packing commenced, boxes labeled fragile. Hearts. Laughs amid chaos. Clinic handover bittersweet, Raj's hug chased. Proud of you. Move south October, Echo Park bungalow. Pool vintage, needing love. Unpacking dance to Springsteen. Kids claiming rooms with crayon maps. Mom drove up, tamales steaming. Linda hosted welcome, Robert toasting awkward. To new chapters. But adjustment jagged, clinic job hunt. Jake's commute eased but hours long. Sophia's preschool jitters, Liam's quiet withdrawals. One night, post-bedtime, Jake collapsed on couch, tie loosened. Worth it. I straddled his lap, hands framing face. Every box. Passion reignited. Date nights at old haunts, pool pranks with kids shrieking delight. Holidays layered magic. Hanukkah candles with Linda's lax, Christmas luminarias linking coasts. Spring unfurled grace. My practice landed in Silver Lake, clients weaving narratives anew. Jake's team thrived, relays echoing our glory. Sophia swam laps fearless. Liam penned stories of two heroes. Betrayal revisited summer. Anonymous email to Jake's firm. Unfit coach, personal distractions. Echo of boosters past, poison pen cowardice. Investigation traced to ex-teammate, grudge nursed. Confronted, he crumbled. Jealousy. You had it all. Forgiveness. No report filed, but Jake's grace shone. Water under bridge. Lesson. Scars inform, not define. Fall harvest. Wedding vow renewal, beachside intimate. Waves our choir, kids scattering petals. Rings exchanged anew, sand gritting toes. To endless laps, I vowed. He grinned, salt-kissed. And pranks. Years cascade, teens now, Sophia's activism. Rainbow pins proud. Liam's novels, dedications to dad's anchors. Robert softens fully. Bedtime stories, his redemption. Mom's garden blooms, LA plots. The dunk? Family legend, retold barbecues, laughter rippling generations. In Jake's arms, twilight poolside, world full. Love's not finish line but the stroke carrying on. Twilight's hush settled over Echo Park like a well-worn blanket. The bungalow's porch light flickering to life as cicadas tuned their evening chorus. Sophia, now 15 with braces glinting rebellion, strummed guitar on the swing. Chords tentative, voice belting folk anthems about outcasts finding voice. Liam, 12 and lanky, sketched beside her. Pencil flying over pages filled with worlds where heroes wore capes of courage, not cloth. Jake and I watched from Adirondacks, feet propped on the ottoman we'd salvaged from a garage sale, his hand absently tracing mine. A habit etched deeper than rings. 2 decades since the splash, and time had sculpted us soft in edges, sharp in stories. His hair silvered at temples, laugh lines crow's feet framing those blue eyes. Mine receded slightly, psych practice graying wisdom into consultations that spanned coasts via Zoom. The pool, our backyard sentinel, hosted graduations and birthdays, its waters witness to first heartbreaks and triumphs. Sophia's queer awakening at 13, confided poolside with Jake's arm steady. Love spectrum, kiddo. Yours shines. But autumn's turn brought tempests unbidden. Jake's coaching empire, UCLA Aquatics a powerhouse, alumni flooding coffers, faced scrutiny. Title IX audit, whispers of favoritism in scholarships. It's politics, he vented one September eve, laptop glowing accusations. Diversity hires? They mean us. I rubbed his shoulders, knots like submerged rocks. You've built inclusivity, rainbow meets, ally training. Evidence trumps echo. He leaned back, side deflating. Dad's era. Pull yourself up. Now. Optics. Robert, retired to golf carts and grandkids spoiling, called next day. Heard the noise. Need a lawyer. Voice gravel but offer olive. No, paps. Just truth. Audit dragged October, depositions dredging past, our relay days. Distractions reframed. A booster emeritus testified, voice quaver. Back then we worried. Now. Grateful. Verdict cleared. Exemplary. But toll lingered. Jake's sleep fractured. My caseload swelled with his stress spillover. Kids anchored. Sophia's school play, her as Joan of Arc, fierce in armor. Drew standing ovation, Jake's whoop loudest. Post-curtain dinner at Roscoe's. Chicken and waffles sticky solace. Liam's short story won junior lit contest. Theme hidden currents. Us veiled in metaphor. Pride swelled, tears unspoken. November elections loomed national, air-thick division. Headlines blaring, rights rolled back. Protests pulsing LA streets. Sophia marched, sign bold. Love wins. Jake and I flanked, hands linked. Liam documenting with phone lens. History's draft, I murmured amid chants. Ours to edit, he replied, squeeze firm. Climax crash Thanksgiving. Family convergence, Fresno tamales mingling with Linda's brisket. Robert carving turkey with tales of oil rigs past. Post-feast, kids corralled for pie, Robert pulled Jake to the den. Whispers low, faces taut. I hovered kitchen, mom's eyebrow arch. Trouble. Always. Truth spilled later, porch swing groaning underweight. Robert's diagnosis redux, cancer, pancreas, stage creeping. Caught early, Jake said, voice hollow. But chemo. Holidays sidelined. Arms enveloped, my chest his harbor. We'll rotate infusions, meals. Team effort. Sophia overheard, tears fierce. Grandpa's fighter. Liam penned cards, doodles of superheroes battling beasts. December blurred chemo chairs and carols. Robert's frame shrinking but spirit unbowed. Quoting Hemingway between nausea waves. Courage not absence fear but action despite. Jake mirrored, coaching sessions halved. Pool deck his pulpit of perseverance. Christmas Eve, hospice lights soft, we gathered. Mom's pozole steaming. Linda's menorah flickering, dual faith. Robert, frail in recliner, beckoned Jake. Proud son. Of the man, the husband, father. Handshake turned hug, tears tracing canyons. Love you, Dad. Ethan's turn. You taught resilience. Taught us. Eyes met, bridge complete. Keep swimming. He slipped January, quiet as dawn lap. Funeral sparse, Pacific scattering ashes from Santa Monica Pier. Waves claiming with roar. Eulogy Jake's. He dove deep, surface changed. Like us all. Grief's undertow pulled weeks. Jake withdrawn, coaching mechanical. My sessions echoed loss, clients' wounds mirroring. Kids coped bold. Sophia's journal entries shared firelit. Liam's stories villains vanquished. Renewal sprouted spring, team retreat big sir. Echoes of our youth. Jake led hikes, vulnerability. Loss carved space for more. Bonds tightened. Alumni toasts to Robert's memory. Home garden therapy. Liam's veggies sprouting defiant. Sophia's murals walls blooming color. Date night revived. Pool float drifts, stars confetti. Miss him. Jake confessed one night, water lapping. Part of the tide now. Kiss sealed, salt of old seas. Summer solstice party, neighborhood sprawl, grill smoke mingling laughter. Marco crashed with clan toast sloshing. To pranks and legacies. Pool dunk dolls, suits forgotten, joy juvenile. Fall harvested healing, Sophia's first crush. Boy with poetry soul. Jake's counsel gentle. Hearts open water. Liam's braces gleam, debate club wins, our cheers front row. Election night relief. Victories for equality, streets celebrating. We dance kitchen, kids piled on, conga absurd. Climax resolved humanistic. Jake's keynote at aquatics conference, theme currents of change. Our story woven, pranks to parenthood, betrayals to bridges. Standing ovation thunder, tears unashamed. Post-talk, green room quiet, he pulled me close. Could have been solo.
Glelten theme.
Best partner. Years grace forward. Sophia college bound, psych major like dad. Liam's novel published, dedication duel. Grandkids. Early whispers, Milo 2 yipping promise. Robert's bench pierside, plaque simple. Dive deep. We visit yearly, toes in surf, hands clasped. The prank? Eternal punchline, retold weddings, births, the splash that started symphony. In Jake's embrace, sunset gilding pool, I whisper. Couldn't stop laughing then. Can't now. He chuckles, forehead to mine. Good. Laughter's our stroke. And so we swim, eternal relay, love's lane endless, humanistic horizon bright.